The Atlas. In Greek mythology, Atlas was condemned to hold up the entire sky. If he let go, the world would end. You're the glue in your friend group, the bottleneck at work, the one who plans the trip, fields the texts, and sends the follow-up email nobody asked for, but everyone needed. You tell yourself, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. That's not always a strong work ethic. Sometimes that's a nervous system running a hostage negotiation with reality, because underneath the competence is a belief so deep you may not even question it. If I drop one ball, everything falls apart. One late email, one missed deadline, and suddenly it feels catastrophic. Your body responds to a minor inconvenience as if it were a major threat, so you carry everyone else's deadlines, everyone else's feelings, everyone else's weight. If you're managing everyone, no one can disappoint you. But you're not holding the world together. You're holding yourself hostage, and you've been doing it so long that your arms don't even shake anymore. They just ache. Quietly, all the time. You weren't trying to be a hero. You were trying to make sure nothing could ever catch you off guard again. If that one felt personal, this next one lives in your future. The fortune teller. Do you rehearse arguments in the shower that haven't happened yet? Do you draft text messages in your notes app, editing the punctuation 3 times because a period seems aggressive? You call this being prepared. Clinicians call it anticipatory anxiety. The fortune teller struggles to live in the present. Your brain feels 3 steps ahead at all times, scanning, modeling, mapping every worst-case scenario before it has a chance to exist. Here's the lie anxiety sells you. If I imagine the worst in enough detail, it won't hurt as much when it comes. Pre-worry is a down payment on pain, except it rarely works, because the tragedy usually never arrives, and you've lived through 50 breakups in your head. Every minute spent worrying about the future is a minute pulled out of the present, and your body responds to imagined threats with a very real stress response. Physiologically, you are living through disasters that haven't happened. This is the exhausting time travel of anxiety. You weren't trying to be neurotic. You were trying to make sure nothing could ever catch you unprepared. But the cost of never being surprised is struggling to ever be present. The next one is quieter. It looks like composure. The curator. How many times this week have you smiled and said, "I'm good, just tired"? How many times was tired code for something you don't even have a word for? Something heavier than stress, but quieter than a breakdown. This is the curator. You treat your life like a museum exhibit. Everything behind glass, labeled, immaculate. Because behind the glass, there's a hurricane, and you will do almost anything to make sure nobody sees it. You use perfectionism as armor, because to an anxious brain, messy feels like unsafe, and unsafe feels like alone. So you curate, you polish, you perform, you build an image so flawless that nobody asks the one question that terrifies you most. Are you actually okay? Because if someone waited for the real answer, the glass might shatter. You weren't trying to be fake, you were trying to be safe. And if your anxiety doesn't hide behind perfection, it may hide behind competence. The janitor. You're the first person everyone calls. Break up at 2 a.m., you're awake. Coworker drops the ball, you stay late. But when was the last time someone showed up for you? Not because they didn't offer, because you didn't let them. You are so good at managing everyone else's chaos, you have accidentally trained the world to believe you have no limits, and you resent them for it, quietly, bitterly, while smiling. When someone does offer help, accepting it feels deeply uncomfortable to your nervous system, because accepting help means admitting you're struggling, and that threatens the identity that helps you feel secure, the competent one, the one who handles it. So you become the janitor of your own life, sweeping up everyone else's debris until there's nothing left for yourself. And then night comes, the noise stops, and your brain gets louder. The night watch. You are exhausted all day. Your eyes burn at your desk. But the second your head hits the pillow, your brain turns into a stadium spotlight. Suddenly, you're wide awake, replaying a weird comment you made in 2018, wondering if your boss secretly hates you. All day long, you use busyness as a coping mechanism, moving, fixing, scrolling, producing. Noise drowns out the signal, until you lie down in the dark and the noise stops, and the feelings you outran at 9 a.m. finally catch you at midnight. Every swallowed emotion, every ignored tension, later is now. This is why some people feel sick the moment a vacation begins. When you finally stop, your body registers the backlog of stress you've been carrying. You may not be afraid of the dark. You might just be afraid of the quiet, because the quiet is where the truth lives, and yours has been chasing you for years. The last one is what high achievers get rewarded for, right up until it burns them out: the performer. Does sitting on the couch feel like a crime? Can you take a full day off without the gnawing guilt that you're wasting it? If the answer is no, you have internalized a brutal equation. Your worth equals your output. Rest is for people who have done enough, and you feel like you have never done enough. So you run, you optimize, you stack habits on habits, because stopping makes you panic, because sitting still feels like failing. Your nervous system has equated doing nothing with being nothing. And that can be an adaptation to environments where you only felt valued when you were producing. If you did absolutely nothing for an entire day, no work, no self-improvement, would you still feel like you have worth? If your stomach just dropped, it points to how deeply your identity is tied to your output. You weren't trying to be a machine. You were trying to feel secure in a world that taught you to perform for approval, and you shouldn't have had to. If any of these made you feel exposed today, hear me clearly. You have spent so much of your life being the safety net for everyone around you that you forgot you were a person too. But a safety net pulled too tight will snap. Your worth is not determined by how many fires you put out before noon. The next time you feel the weight pressing down on your shoulders, let one plate drop. Just one. Yes, it will feel incredibly uncomfortable. Your brain might tell you that you're failing. Try to notice that discomfort without immediately obeying it, and watch what happens. The world will keep spinning. It always has. Usually, it didn't need you to hold it up. So set the weight down. You've carried it long enough.